He was a poor boy who sold newspapers near the railway station. But he had one dream: to fly airplanes one day. Years later, he helped India launch rockets into the sky. This is not just a story. It's a lesson in English and in life. If you want to learn English through emotions, through real people and their dreams, then stay till the end. Because Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam's story will teach you more than words ever can. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Sold Newspapers. In a small town called Rameswaram, near the blue sea of South India, a thin boy ran barefoot every morning. His name was Avul Pakir Jainulabdin Abdul Kalam. His father was a humble boat owner, and his mother cooked for the whole family. They were poor, but their home was full of love. When other boys went to play, Kalam helped his father or delivered newspapers to earn a few coins. He loved watching the birds fly over the waves. One day, he whispered, "I will touch the sky." At school, Kalam sat in the back row because he was poor. Some children laughed at his worn clothes, but his eyes shone with quiet pride. His teachers saw something different in him, a hunger to learn. He studied by the dim light of a kerosene lamp, writing notes until midnight. Every day, he carried questions in his heart. Why does the wind blow? How do stars shine? Why can't humans fly? Those questions became his secret world. He often walked to the temple and mosque with his friends, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, all together. Rameswaram was small, but in that little town, young Kalam learned something huge. Humanity is greater than religion. Chapter 2. The Dream That Refused to Die. After finishing school in Rameswaram, Kalam left home for the first time. His mother packed some rice, pickles, and tears in his small metal box. He traveled by train to Tiruchirappalli to study at St. Joseph's College. The train ticket cost more than his family could afford, but his father said softly, "Go, my son. Your dreams will feed us one day." Those words stayed in his heart forever. In college, life was not easy. He lived in a shared room, often skipping meals to save money for books. His English was weak at first, and he felt shy to speak in class. Many nights, he sat alone, watching the stars from his window, thinking of his hometown. But when he studied physics, something sparked inside him. He saw flying machines in his mind, not just in books. He wanted to build them, touch them, and make India proud. When he applied for engineering in Madras Institute of Technology, he almost failed the interview because his design was poor. The professor said, "You have 1 week to improve, or you will lose your seat." Kalam worked day and night, without sleep, redrawing every part of his model. When he showed it again, the professor smiled. "You can fly now," he said. That small sentence gave wings to Kalam's heart, and his dream never died again. Chapter 3. The sky was his classroom. When Kalam joined the Madras Institute of Technology, his life changed. For the first time, he worked with machines, engines, and models of aircraft. He often stayed in the lab until late night, hands full of grease, eyes full of dreams. His classmates called him the man who never rests. He loved drawing planes on paper, imagining how they would cut through the clouds. He was quiet, but when he talked about flying, his face glowed. After graduation, he wanted to be a pilot in the Indian Air Force. That dream was his heartbeat. He went to Dehradun for the test, trained hard, and waited with hope. But when the results came, his name was not on the list. Only 8 people were selected. Kalam stood outside the gate, watching planes rise in the sky, tears burning his eyes. His dream of becoming a pilot had fallen to the ground. For the first time, he felt lost. But life had another flight waiting. He joined the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, as a scientist. There, he started designing small aircraft models. The machines were simple, but his thoughts were big. Each time he failed, he smiled and said, "This is not the end." Slowly, the boy who once sold newspapers was now designing wings for a nation. Chapter 4. The Man Who Made India Fly. In the early 1960s, Kalam was sent to work with a group of scientists who dreamed of building India's first rocket. The place was a small church by the sea in Tumba, Kerala. There were no fancy labs, no big machines, only courage and creativity. The church became their control room, the bicycle their transport for rocket parts, and the sky their only limit. Kalam worked day and night, sleeping on the floor, eating little, and smiling always. When the first rocket was launched, it rose slowly, shaking the earth. The people clapped, and tears rolled down Kalam's face. India had taken its first step into space. Soon, he joined ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. Under his leadership, India made its first satellite launch vehicle. Many times, it failed. Rockets exploded. Hopes broke. But Kalam never blamed his team. He stood before the media and said, "I am responsible." When the project succeeded, he let his team stand in front and take the praise. That was his secret. He led with heart, not ego. From Tumba's tiny church to the sky filled with rockets, Kalam's dream was now India's dream. The boy who once watched birds fly was now making his own country touch the stars. Chapter 5. The Dream of a Strong India. By the late 1970s, Dr. Kalam had become a name every young Indian admired. But he didn't stop at space. His heart now burned for another mission: to make India strong in defense. He joined the project that would later give India its first guided missile system. Day and night, he worked with his team, testing engines, checking codes, and building hope from failure. Many people said India was too poor to dream of such weapons. Kalam simply smiled and said, "A dream is not what you see in sleep. A dream is what keeps you awake." In 1980, when India launched the Rohini satellite successfully, the whole nation cheered. Kalam watched quietly, hands folded, eyes moist. He knew it was not just a rocket. It was a message that India could stand tall. But behind every success were long nights, burnt fingers, and empty plates. Sometimes the projects failed, again and again, and his team wanted to give up. Kalam would gather them and say, "Failure is our teacher. We will learn and rise." His calm voice lifted tired hearts. Soon, the world began to notice. Newspapers called him the Missile Man of India. Yet, he still lived simply. No car, no luxury, only books, dreams, and the belief that India's youth could change the future. Chapter 6: The People's President. In 2002, something unexpected happened. The scientist who once walked barefoot on Ramaswaram's sands was chosen to become the President of India. Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, the man of rockets and dreams, was now the leader of the world's largest democracy. When he walked into Rashtrapati Bhavan, the grand palace in Delhi, he carried no wealth, only his gentle smile and a few books. People called him the People's President because he opened the doors of that palace to students, farmers, and ordinary citizens. Every week, he met children and asked them about their dreams. "What do you want to be?" he would ask, and when they said a teacher, a doctor, or a scientist, his eyes sparkled. He believed India's future was hidden in young hearts. While other leaders gave speeches, Kalam gave hope. He traveled to small towns, talking about honesty, hard work, and faith. He never used difficult words. His language was simple, just like his heart. Even as president, he kept his routine simple. He read the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita, prayed each day, and spent hours writing and thinking about how India could become great by 2020. He never saw himself as powerful, only as a servant of his people. Chapter 7: The Last Lesson. After his term as president ended, Dr. Kalam returned to the life he loved most, teaching. He said, "I was born to be a teacher." No bodyguards, no luxury cars, only classrooms, blackboards, and thousands of eager faces waiting to hear his words. He traveled from one university to another, carrying a small bag and his favorite smile. Students followed him everywhere, not because of fame, but because he spoke to them like a friend. He said, "Dream big, work hard, stay humble." Those simple lines became life lessons for millions. He wrote books like Wings of Fire and Ignited Minds, where he told young people that every dream has power if you believe in it. He often said, "You have to dream before your dreams can come true." His voice was soft, but it reached deep into the hearts of those who listened. On July 27, 2015, Dr. Kalam was giving a lecture at IIM Shillong. He had just said, "To shine like the sun, you must first burn like it." A few minutes later, he collapsed on stage. The students rushed to help, but the man who taught the world how to live had quietly taken his last breath while doing what he loved most, teaching. Chapter 8. The Eternal Flame. When the news of Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam's passing spread, the whole nation fell silent. From crowded cities to small villages, people cried as if they had lost someone from their own family. Children lit candles, soldiers saluted, and students held up his books, whispering, "He will never die." His body was flown back to Rameswaram, the same small town where his journey began. Thousands of people stood in the sun, waiting for one last glimpse of their beloved missile man. Even the sea seemed quiet that day. At his funeral, people from every religion, language, and age came together. There were no walls, no differences, only love. That was his true success. Kalam had not built rockets alone. Yestatian that he had built hearts, hope, and unity. He showed India that greatness is not in power or wealth, but in service and simplicity. His life was proof that you don't need to be born rich to shine. You only need a burning dream and an honest heart. Today, his words still echo in classrooms and in dreams. Don't just read history, make it. The boy who once sold newspapers became a light for millions. Though his body rests in Rameswaram, his spirit still flies, like the rockets he built, high, bright, and eternal. Dreams are not what you see when you sleep. Dreams are what don't let you sleep. Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. If you loved this story and learned new English words, then don't stop here. Your journey has just begun. Like this video, share your favorite English line, and subscribe to Glorious English, where every story teaches you English through emotion, inspiration, and real life.